Welcome everybody to our third session of self-love webinars. Today we have the wonderful Donna Joseph. But before I introduce her, I just want to say about the Kaushalya UK, the not-for-profit or non-profit organisation that focuses on women's empowerment, which is based in Birmingham. And Ritu, who is with us here, she's the brains behind all this. She's the co-founder. No, she's a founder. Are you founder or co-founder? I must clarify that. I thought you were. I saw it somewhere you were co-founder. I didn't think that was right. Anyway, she's a founder, and this organisation helps women from all walks of life all around the world. So we have a WhatsApp group, and there are women all around the world on this WhatsApp group. It's just wonderful to see everybody's talents, everybody's passion, and the interaction on the group is amazing. And Ritu has her passion is to connect women and help them achieve self-empowerment and success. She is the author of Rich Man's Poor Daughter, which I guarantee I recommend you read. And also she's multi-award winner for all the hard work that she does. So the Kaushalya UK runs 4 projects all year to help women, to help empower women. What the first one is education, and also financial education and entrepreneurship, health and well-being, and social events. So we will advertise as much as possible. So if you can get on whenever you can, I truly recommend you do that. We're having 4 weekly sessions. This is the 3rd one. And Donna will be talking about searching your truth. And next week we have Jay Regani, who will be coming on and doing some chakra healing. So next week is all about your energy system. So I recommend that you make sure you've got a space where you can lie down, because she's going to bring one of her healing bowls to work on, I think a particular chakra, she said. So I just want to introduce now Donna. And Donna is a professional speaker who uses her complex life experiences and achievements so far to inspire and motivate others. Being mixed race and adopted into a white family led Donna down a road of self-discovery and awakening. Donna talks openly about childhood trauma, abuse, as well as her inspiring journey to finding her birth family. Donna now uses her wealth of experiences to help others find their truth, find their self, with her Searching for Truth podcast. She's just amazing, this lady. She's also a radio presenter and presents her Good Vibrations, good. No, I won't sing. Good Vibration radio show on BHBN Radio every Monday. And also she's a mindfulness teacher at Modern Mindfulness in Birmingham, as well as an ambassador for Tropic Skincare. So I will just be doing a session before Donna comes and does her amazing session. And I just want to explain who I am. I think majority of you know who I am here anyway. So, in fact, I think all of you know. So I am Audrey Scully, and I am a transformational mentor, healer, and speaker. So I help women suffering in relationships to release their blockages, release their limiting beliefs, and also to help them change their reality. I am also a therapist, so I do massage healing, chi reflexology, and I am a funeral celebrant, which I love. So, moving on. Today what I want to talk about, and can I welcome Jay? Thank you for joining us, Jay. And what I want to talk about today is about the power of words. And as we all know, we are all energy, and everything is energy. So the words we use have energy, and it's very important to be mindful and to be conscious of what words we are using, because a lot of us use really low vibrating words. So everything in the universe vibrates, and it has its own vibration. So using low vibration words actually affects your mood, affects how you feel. And when people become aware of the words that they use and they start to change it, the transformation in them is amazing. So recently I came across a lady, and all she was doing was saying about, you know, how hard her day was, how awful, how she has to look after this person, how she, you know, and I said to her, can you replace the word hard by something else, you know? I do it with ease and flow. And yes, she might not be feeling that she's doing it with ease and flow. She might not be feeling that she could do it. However, when you start to say, change your words, you're actually changing the neural pathways in your brain. So instead of going that way, down the negative route, you start to then change it to the positive route. And there's a gentleman, there's a doctor called Dr. Emoto, who actually measured took pictures of water crystals. So these water crystals, what he did was he got glasses of water and he either put words down under the water, or he got somebody every day to go and say these same words to this glass of water. And he did it on various glasses of water. And then he managed to freeze it and then look at the crystals. And it was just amazing how beautiful the crystals were of the positive words. But the ones that weren't positive were not very nice. And what I love was that he did it in all different areas. So not just saying the words, but he went round the lakes, the oceans, well, the lakes mainly, and took the water samples from there. So there's a lake in Japan that he took a sample, and it was really, really heavy, and the crystals were really dark. And what they did, the monks went round and they just chanted round the lake. Unfortunately, I've not got the crystals for this. There's not many crystals, pictures of the crystals that he has. But the difference improved the lake, it cleared the lake, and the crystals were absolutely amazing. So I just want to show you, when you say the word, if you can just close your eyes and take your attention, take in a couple of deep breaths. And just think of the word, take your attention down into your heart and just think of the word love. And how does that feel? Just be aware of how it feels in your heart. How is it making you feel in your body? And now think of the word hate. Hate. And how does that feel in your heart? How does it feel in your body? Okay. So think of the word love again, because I don't want you to feel in a negative energy. And just feel that love spreading into every cell of your body. So when you can open your eyes now. When you're saying the word love, that energy is coming out of your mouth and it's spreading around. And when you say the word hate, that's doing the same, but it's spreading out lower energies. And that energy hovers around, stays around until you clear it. So being mindful of what we say, how we talk, the words we use, will really help, as I said before, raise our vibrations and help keep us in a higher vibration. Because the higher the vibration, the happier you are, the more content you are. And it prevents you dipping down, going low, and also it's very good for your immune system. So the happier you are, the better the serotonin, endorphins are released, and keeps you, improves your immune system. Can I just ask anybody who, if you want to just say how you felt with this little exercise?
I'm happy to talk, Audrey.
Thank you.
When you said love, and I concentrated on that in the heart area, the heart felt really warm and expansive. And when you said, what was the other word? Hate, was it?
Hate. Yeah,
Hate.
you forgot it already, haven't you?
Yeah. Get out. Don't want it in my vocabulary. When you did say that word, it was like everything shrunk back in and it became dark. Not a nice place to be. So I'm not normally with those sort of words. So yeah, I totally resonate with the words that you use and how it really does affect your vibration. So important.
Yes, absolutely. Did you want to say thank you, Jay? Did you want to say something, Donna?
Pretty much exactly what Jay says. A huge amount of warmth and like just a warm feeling with the love. I really felt it. It was lovely. And then the hate, it felt like a dark cloud.
Yeah.
You know, quite suddenly as well, when you said the word. You could really feel the difference.
Yeah.
It was a real sort of great exercise to get you involved in how powerful the vibrations are. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's wonderful that you both felt the same thing. Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I obviously I read Dr. Emoto's book and everything, and then just like, oh my goodness, did not realize what we were doing, what we were saying really had that effect on people. So can you imagine, all the people who are going around saying, oh, this isn't right, that's not right, complaining, and even the ones that you try and help them, and they won't do it, so you just have to like walk away, leave them alone. But this is what I help people with, and it's like I say, it's just amazing the difference. So the lady I was talking about, she lives abroad, and she lives in South Africa. It's not a very good, it's a struggle for most people, and she's having to look after her mother as well. And I was helping her. I'm saying, oh, what about thinking about this? What about thinking about that? And she's doing meditations and things like that. And she's found out that she's quite ill. She had to have an operation. And the next thing, she's coming out saying, I am healthy, and she's coming out with all these positive words, and I'm thinking, is this the same person? Oh my goodness. And she's had the operation, and she's still being really positive about it. And it just fills my heart with joy when I hear that, when somebody who was really, really quite low and depressed has raised herself, raised her vibrations, and changed her mindset. You know what I'm talking about, John, because, well, a lot of you, because of the work that you do. So I just want to show you, Ritu, have I got the, can I just show these slides? Please, thank you. So, share screen. Okay, slideshow. Is it that one? Okay. current slide. So I couldn't find the current slide. It's a bit blurred, that one. So this is a crystal that Dr. Emoto got when he took put the water under the ice under the microscope, and this is love and appreciation. How beautiful that is. Okay. This one is elephant. You wouldn't think that the word elephant would produce such a beautiful crystal. I'd love to know what that is in the middle. It looks, I think that if there was a ring like that, I would buy it. This is You Make Me Sick. So you see the difference? Oops. And this is joy. So just think that every time you say these words, these crystals, these energies are coming out, and you're just clearing the energy. When you're laughing, when you're smiling, you're just adding to the energy. It's beautiful. And every time you say thank you, that's the crystal. It's so important to say thank you for everything, you know. We have in our group, just take this off. In our group, we have this mantra, and it's we love you, I thank you, I honor you. And when I go out and about, or everything I do, I try and say that. I love you, I thank you, I honor you. You know, I just say it in my head. It's just so beautiful. Walking in nature, saying it to all as I'm walking along. When I see people, I say it in my head. It's just an honor. Like say, we're all one. We're all connected, and and the person will pick it up, even if you don't say it aloud. So.
Audrey, can I just say something, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, just going back to words and the effect that words have. It's been around for hundreds of years. If you think about certain customs which chant different mantras, especially just before they eat or drink water, or even when they're cooking food. And this is not just sort of the Indian culture, you know, you see it in more Western cultures as well, where they'll sort of chant while they're cooking and stuff like that, because you're putting all that good vibration into the food. So I know for myself, like with water, I'm very aware that water that comes through the taps is of very poor quality. And there's, you know, a molecular structure, it's very deformed, unfortunately. So I often apply sound to it, using my instruments to just change the molecular structure so it's a bit more healthier. So I just think it's over time through modern society that we've lost some of that, the ability to really re-energize food and water and, you know, the environment and everything that we live in. But obviously it's now coming back, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. But even just saying grace, you're changing, you know, you're changing the vibrations in the food. And by doing that, you're aligning yourself to the energy of the food as well. But yeah, definitely. I mean, do you all have a glass of water? Yeah. So, yeah, have your drink. So what a nice one is, just put your hand under and your hand over it. Okay. And just feel your feet firmly on the ground. And imagine white light coming down into your head, the universal divine light, and coming down into your heart. And from your heart, it's going up into your shoulders and down your arms into your hands. And you're filling this water or whatever drink you have. The light is going through. and changing and blessing and raising the vibrations of the water. Okay, so if you have a drink of water, if you now have a little drink. Mine's gone colder. Anybody feel any taste to what it was like before? Nope, still the same taste.
My tea tastes richer.
Richer.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, mine wasn't that cold, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's gone really cold now. So, along with all the words that we use, like I say, they've all got different vibrations. And there's a gentleman called Richard Hawkins who actually discovered the vibrations for some of the words. So again, I'll just share this with you. So here is the chart that he did, and you see at the bottom there's shame, and that's got a vibration of 20, and goes up to guilt, apathy, fear, desire, and if you can see on the right hand side it says contracted. So it's interesting that when when I got you to feel the word hate, that you both said, oh, I contracted, or I felt this, and then you get to courage, and that's where you start to expand. So you're actually raising your vibrations, raising the frequency, and it goes all the way up to enlightenment. So to see where you are, you could look at these words and again just feel in your heart what resonates with you, how it feels. And the one obviously that feels the highest, the loveliest, the fullest, is where you're vibrating at the moment. But also, yeah, when you use these words, it does have an energy effect. So I try not to use the lower words, unless, of course, you have to do if you're doing treatments, if you're doing therapies, and you're asking the person how they're feeling, so that you can help them raise higher. I was going to say, if you want to take a screenshot, but I've got lots of things on it. I don't know if you can see it without all the other charts on. You can get this on the internet. So, okay, top chair. So yes, just wanted to highlight and raise awareness of the words that we use. Even reading the words has an effect on you. And I was talking earlier about Geraldine, my sister who's here. She does a book club. And at the moment, they're all like spiritual books, aren't they, Geraldine? I don't know if you can contribute. And how many people, how many of you have read books and suddenly she's here, thank you. Suddenly you read something and it just resonates with you and you tingle all over and you're just like, oh my goodness, wow. Or then you read these romantic books that are really quite sorrowful, quite sad, and then you're there, so your emotions are just going up and down. It's always lovely to end up on a high. Yours is joy today. Wonderful. Thank you, Donna. Anybody else done this while we're talking? See where you're vibrating.
Mine's peace today.
Peace. Wonderful. Thank you. Joy for Geraldine too. Shalini, thank you. And Rita, thank you for joining us.
Mine is happiness. I'm Shalini. Mine is happiness.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Mina, happiness as well. Rita, have we lost Andrea? You there? Oh, you're there. Rita, do you want to put what yours is? No, I don't know. Ritu, yours is love? Yeah, what else would it be? Andrea, you share yours?
Love.
Hello. Did you manage to see what vibration you're vibrating at today?
Yes, it's love.
It's love. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, Jodie, are you able to talk, or do you prefer not to? From Rita.
Audrey.
Thank you, Rita.
I can speak if that's what you need from me.
Yes, please, yes. So Geraldine's doing this book club, and as I said, it's spiritual. And at the moment, do you want to explain the book that we're reading, Geraldine, please?
Yeah, so there's a series of books that I'm doing one a month, and the book that we're currently doing is called A Little Light on the Spiritual Laws. And what I'm discovering is that the spirituality is actually governed by a set of laws. Each law has its, so it's very structured. And this book is fascinating because I'm realizing this is the ABC of spirituality. And I'm learning so much from it, and it's such an easy book to read. The book we did before was, as Audrey mentioned earlier, the Book of Joy, written by the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, which was equally fascinating to have an insight into the amazing friendship that these two wonderful men have for each other. And despite all the suffering that each of them has experienced in their life, and not only in their own life, but in the lives that they've seen around them, they have totally, they just give off the vibration of utter joy. And the whole book is about how they explain to us how they do it and how we can do it, that we all have this ability to be in this space of joy, this space of love, this space of compassion, that it's actually part of our normal human being, but that we forget because we're so drawn into all the madness that goes on around us. So these books are absolutely fascinating. There's only 2 of the books that I can recommend, and there are several more. So back to you, Audrey.
Thank you. If anybody wants to join in the book club, if you can put down, Jodine, where we can find it. So Ritu's reading Journey of Souls. Fascinating. Wow. Who's written that, Ritu?
It's a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, sorry, not a psychotherapist, a hypnotherapist, and he's Dr. Newton. And it's case studies that he's come up with, and he talks about soul's journeys from being, when the physical body dies to when they get to the next one. So the journey in between lives, and it is actually very fascinating. And as Geraldine said, that that there's structure to the spiritual world, and it exactly talks about similar stuff, that there's a structure to it. And of course, we don't know exactly how much he's got out of the truth or whatever it is. It's all about perception, but just understanding a few bits out of there. And as I was saying earlier, Audrey, when you read a book, you don't get everything the first instance. You might have to revisit it sometimes, and then maybe get a few things out of it as well. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself while I read that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Excuse me. I'm catching it off Jay. She's just coughed as well. So yeah, thank you so much. I mean, these books are amazing. What did I read? I think one of my first ones was Conversations with God. And I was reading it again a couple of months ago. And like you said, I'm like, wow, I didn't remember reading that before. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, if you can, and I know majority of you'll do it anyway, just be very mindful of the words you're using. Be very mindful of how you're feeling. And if you're feeling a bit low, if you're feeling a bit yuck, think of something that will make you happy, you know. Think of a joke. Think of somebody who acts stupid and daft. Jodie doesn't have to think too far for that one. Think of somebody who will just put a smile on it, who loves you unconditionally, and that will raise you up. And if you're struggling to do that, contact somebody who will lift you up, who will raise you up. I think that's very, very important. I have quite a few friends and, you know, family who say, I don't want to contact, I was thinking about ringing you, but I didn't because you're always busy. And I said, no, just do it. Because if I'm busy, I'll get back to you. And if I'm not, I'll answer you. And the other day I was saying that to one of my relatives, you know, I was texting and I was saying, do you want to talk? And she's like, no, I'm all right. And her partner, you know, just being in hospital and everything. And and I said, look, I'm here for you. Do you know what time she rang me? 12:30 at night. And she went, oh, can you help me? And I'm like, but I was so grateful that she did that, that she was, and she wasn't going to do it, but she did it. So yeah, Jodine's saying, contact me on Messenger to get the book list. I will do. Okay. Thank you. So thank you very much for this. I'm now going to hand you over to the wonderful Donna Joseph. And thank you those who have just joined as well. Hi, Surinder.
Yeah, I have another class, so I was looking forward to joining all your classes. Really enjoyed the 5 minutes of it. Very interesting. So I'll make an effort next time to carry on. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Ritu, you're putting it up on the website? Pardon? Surinder?
The book you mentioned, part read it, so I'll carry on reading it again. The God.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Ritu, are you putting these on the website? Yes. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay.
And if anyone happens to talk about any of their personal stuff, then we mute that section, which we've done for one of our previous ones as well, because obviously it is very thoroughly looked at before we actually put it on website. We don't want to share out anything that is of personal nature. So feel relaxed, very free, and if you come out, you know, to talk about something that's very personal, you don't want to share it out to public, all you have to do is just let me know and I'll erase that sound from that section. Yes, we are putting it on and it's being recorded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we want to make this. Thank you, Ritu. We want to make this a very safe place where you feel that you can share, you know, whatever it is you want to share. And yeah, we will take it out, as Ritu said. Thank you. So Donna, thank you so much for being here today. And we're really looking forward for you to share your wonderful journey and your gems of wisdom.
Thank you, Audrey. So yeah, I said I'm feeling joy today because it really is a joy for me to share what I'm going to share today under the umbrella of searching for truth, because it's taken me 45 years to finally feel like I've found really where I'm supposed to be. But I have no regrets about that, because the journey, which I'm going to share with you today, yes, it's been a long journey. And no, I wouldn't want to go back to certain experiences in that journey. But I wouldn't change anything for the world, because of everything that's happened and all the experiences. I've now got this amazing platform called Searching for Truth, which is like, honestly, feels like a baby. And that's a baby to me. And that's why when asked to think about what I'm feeling, what vibration I am to be sat here with all of you lovely ladies today, it's joy. So thank you, everyone. It's you can probably see my face is really, really bright, but I'm not going to change anything, because that is actually the natural sunlight coming through. So whilst it's coming through, I think we need to allow it. It's not going to be there all the while. So I'm not going to adjust anything. Let's let the sunlight come through. It's a beautiful thing.
You're glowing.
I'm glowing. I'm going to allow myself to glow. chances are it's not going to be there for long, so I'm not going to adjust anything. Okay, so searching for truth. I didn't realise when I was a little girl that I'd actually started searching for truth way back then. I didn't know it. It wasn't, as I'm sure for a lot of people, I had a rough childhood. It wasn't easy. And I'm going to share some of that story with you because that is a big part of searching for truth. But what I was doing, which I didn't realize, was as a little girl, is I was dreaming a lot. And I was dreaming a lot because I was feeling lonely. I used to dream that before I talk about my dreams, because I'm actually going to put some of that out to you guys as well, to talk about your dreams. So before I talk about what I used to dream about, I'll give you just a little bit of a background to my story. So at 3 months old, I was adopted, and I was so blessed to have been almost taken away from probably one of the roughest parts of a city to one of the nicest suburbs outside the city. I was so lucky. Obviously, you can see I'm a mixed race. And back in the 70s, there were a lot of mixed race children and babies that were not able to be adopted easily because of the colour of their skin. There weren't many black adoptive parents, and there weren't many white adoptive parents that were willing to take children of colour. So I was very lucky that my adopted mum, who is white, went to the hairdressers one day, had her hair cut, picked up a magazine and saw an article saying about all these mixed race children up for adoption. And through that, she went and spoke to my now adopted father. And lo and behold, at 3 months old, I was delivered to them. And all that they had with me was a light blue washing up bowl. You know, the old washing up bowls you put in the sink to do your pots. It had all my belongings in it. And there was a letter. And that letter was from my birth mum. And my birth mum wrote in that letter a few things, obviously, but one thing that stuck out was she doesn't sleep very well at night. She's very unsettled. But my adopted mum, you know, that was nothing. You know, I was a baby, 3 months old. What do you expect? That night, the very first night, I slept the whole night through. In fact, my mum had to keep coming to check on me in the morning just to make sure that I was okay, because my adopted mum was also a foster carer. So she'd had lots of children, and she was used to baby children waking up, and she was expecting me to. Now, when I hear that story of me sleeping through the night, especially now I know what I know, I think that was because my soul was finally where it was supposed to be. And perhaps I was unsettled with my birth mum because my soul knew that that wasn't my sort of place to be. So I wanted to share that story because that story is extremely positive and beautiful. Sadly, over the next 5 years, it wasn't easy. Being mixed race in a white family, in a white predominant area, I found it really difficult. I found it very difficult to belong and to feel that I belonged anywhere. Back in the 70s, there was a lot of ignorance. I don't like to use the word racism because I don't think I experienced racism until I was a little bit older, but I did experience ignorance because I was different. So I felt like the odd one out. And as a young girl growing up, that did not help my confidence. It didn't help my self-esteem. And slowly over the years as a child, I went within myself, which is really sad. I just want to put a question out to all of you. Hands up, who remembers when they were a little child playing and pretending that, you know, you're making a den, and you used to make a den and you used to hide in the den, maybe with your siblings? Hands up who used to do that sort of thing when they were a child. A lot of us did, because the innocence of a child is playful. And I believe when we're younger, we are full of love. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine when you were playing like that, when you were younger, you were full of love. I want you to imagine a tank like that, full of love when you're born. And I want you to believe, because this is true, that that tank is full of love when you're born, and it's full of love all the way through your life. But when things start to happen, like what happened with me, and you start to feel anxious and your self-esteem starts to go inwards from an early age, then what starts to happen is it starts to feel that that love tank is going down like that. It's not, and I know that now, and I think all of you ladies know that now. It's not. That love does not go anywhere. That love is always there, but it feels like it's going down because you start to feel the opposite to love. You start to feel afraid. You start to feel scared. And that's how I felt from quite an early age. I don't want anyone to really have to go into personal details, but hands up if there's anyone here that can relate to how perhaps I was feeling when I was a child. Can anyone else relate to that when they were also quite young themselves? Yeah. Yeah. It can be a hard thing to admit to admit that things were not right when you were younger can be a hard thing to admit to, because as we get older, we become very good at putting things away. Yeah, I became really good at, certainly in my teenage years, just like moving on from that. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I'm just going to share another little story with you. My mum and dad fostered lots of children. I used to beg them to foster a child the same colour as me, because then I would not feel so left out. You know, at least all these feelings of looking different, I'd have somebody else. But they never did. So I used to daydream about having a family the same colour as me. I used to wish I was like the Cosby Show. You remember them? Yeah, I used to wish that I could be part of this family where everybody looked the same and they were the same colour as me. I used to go to bed at night and like pray that one day I would have brothers and sisters the same colour as me. I also used to dream a lot and really, really wish that I could see a picture of my birth mother. I knew I wasn't going to be able to meet her, because when you're adopted back then, you're not allowed until you're 18. But I used to beg my mum, because I knew she was a foster carer and I knew she had like ins with the social services, please, can you get me a picture of my mum? If I'm honest with you now, I actually think I was connected to my birth mum, because I would not let up on the emotion that I felt for her. I felt something that drove me to desperately want to find her. Now, I knew she was white, so that was not a colour thing. that was a connection with my mum. And I'm going to say something now which may upset you, and it may actually still upset me, because what I've realized is that getting over trauma is like getting over everything is like a journey. And still sometimes when I share my story, it can make me quite emotional. So it might make you quite emotional too. It's not my intention, but I think it will help with where I'm going to with this talk. I was desperate to see my mum. All I wanted was a picture. I begged and begged and begged. And a social worker came and she said, Donna, I'm going to see what I can do for you. So I was 12, 13 years old. I was so happy that someone was actually going to be going out there to try and find a picture of my mum. And I was going to see her, what she looked like for the first time, because I wanted to visualize her, you know, when you've got a picture of someone in your mind, I wanted to see what she really looked like. A phone call came from the social services to say that they'd got somewhere and they were coming to see me. I cannot tell you how excited I was to know that I was going to finally see a picture of my birth mum. It's getting a bit bright in here now, isn't it? Let me turn it down a little bit. When the social worker arrived, it wasn't what I expected. They sat me down. I remember going into the best room of the house, because that's where you went when there was meetings. And the news that I found, the picture that I saw, was a picture of my birth mum, missing, presumed dead. And it was really, really the opposite news to what I was expecting. The picture that I saw was not a good picture. You know, you imagine like an old picture in a newspaper clipping. So I was left with that news that my birth mum may be dead. 2 days later, or a certain time later, I found out that my mum, my birth mum, had been found at the bottom of a canal, and she was indeed dead. Needless to say, at the age of 13 years old, I believe that was the start of my trauma. Now, ironically, as I've explained, I pushed for that to happen. I pushed to find my birth mum. No one else. It was me. And my whole world came tumbling down, if I'm honest. I started drinking. I started smoking. I'd say that my sexual activity was heightened a lot sooner than what it probably would have been if that hadn't have happened. I went completely off the rails from that moment. Now, back then, you didn't have mentors. You didn't really have counselling. You didn't really have therapy. So it was very much a matter of, you know, brush off and get on with it. I think all of you ladies here today know that that doesn't quite work out like that. You don't just brush off and get on with it. What I did was I buried it. I buried it inside and I tried to move on with my life. I talked about my sexual activity being heightened. It was heightened to a point where at the age of 16, I was raped. And so the guy got sent to prison for 5 years. And soon after that, I thought I fell in love. You ladies probably all know that it's almost, if not at all, impossible to fall in love if you don't love yourself first. I thought I was in love, because this guy that I met, he was very understanding of what had happened to me. He was like there for me. Now, needless to say, I'd pushed my adoptive parents away. I blamed them for adopting me. I blamed them for everything, because let's face it, as teenagers, that's what we do. That's what we do. I am dreading my son. He's 10 now. In 3 or 4 years' time, I kind of know. That's what we do. So I'd push them away. So this guy, I thought was everything. I thought he was everything, because he took me in his arms and he told me that everything was going to be okay. And through him, I moved to London. It wasn't okay. He became a very abusive. He broke my nose for nothing. I was out with a friend. I was at a taxi queue, waiting for a taxi, talking to people that had also been there waiting for a taxi. There happened to be boys and girls waiting for a taxi. He saw me and grabbed me, punched me in the nose, and then dragged me into a car. My nose was bleeding all over the car. And I like to look at a positive side in this, because until that moment, I had a little lump in my nose. And when I went to get my nose fixed, the surgeon said to me, "Would you like me to get rid of that for you?" So I'd like to say, where there's a cloud, because that bump's gone now. The sad thing is, I was with that guy for another 4 years before I left him. Because one of the hardest things to do in an abusive relationship is leave. Especially if you are insecure and feeling so lack of love within yourself. Which is why I think this talk today is really important for this topic. Because way back then, I had no self-love whatsoever for myself. Ritu, I know you've shared things in your story. It's quite similar to me. I could, and I did. Anything could have happened to me and my body, and it did. And the reason why is because when you are in such a lack of love within yourself, and when things have happened to you like abuse and rape, your head, my head it was almost as if, the way I describe it is, it's almost as if your head is detached from the rest of your body. It didn't feel like I was not a whole person, it was separated. So it didn't matter what happened to my body, because I wasn't connected to it. The one thing I did do, just as I used to as a child, when I was on my own, is I never stopped dreaming. I still never stopped dreaming. And I'm going to lighten up the subject a bit now, because whilst I couldn't get away from him, and I was scared of him, I don't know if anyone here has been in an abusive relationship before. He did actually only hit me twice. Not that that makes it any better. He broke my nose and he gave me a black eye. What was worse, and what is worse in an abusive relationship, as far as I can remember, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but the terror and the threat of being hit, I found, was far, far worse than actually being hit. Because when you're hit and it's kind of over. When you're being terrorized with a hand to your throat, it can go on and on and on. And that was the sort of terror that I went through for 5 years. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit now. At the age of 21, I went to the same social worker that had told me, sadly, that my mum had committed suicide. At the age of 21, I knew I could now find out more details. So I was living in London. I went to the Children's Society in London and I met the lady, the same lady. And she got all her files out. And what was striking straight away was when she told me about my birth mother's life leading up to committing suicide, it was almost a mirror image of what I was going through at that time. The relationship that she was in wasn't my father, it was someone else. But the beatings and the abuse, it was like looking in a mirror. Now, bearing in mind, I never knew my mum. I never knew her. I never met her until I was up until 3 months old. But I was going with this relationship in exactly the same direction. The light for me, which changed everything, and I mean everything, was when she told me, and this is, as much as it's happy, it still makes me emotional. She said, but Donna, you've got a brother. Your mum had a son 2 years after you. And knowing that, and knowing that my mum that I was going through the same thing as my mum, and knowing that I had a brother, and I know it seems shallow, but knowing that the brother was the same colour as me, I told you it makes me emotional now, changed everything. And on that way home, and I'll never forget it, I don't know if anyone knows London, but I lived in Archway at the time. It wasn't that far. The Children's Society was in King's Cross. Something changed that from then on. Before I go forward, they didn't have much information about my dad other than his name. So she gave me the name. I think, Ritu, I'm going to have to do another session with you about my dad's side, because that is a whole different story. I came home knowing what I knew. The first thing I did is I phoned the landlord and I told him we were leaving. My boyfriend wasn't there. I told him I wanted the deposit back because we were leaving. I got my £200 deposit back. I stood on the iron burn mark on the carpet so he didn't see it. I got my £200 deposit back. When my boyfriend came home, there was something that changed in me. There was like an inner strength. I knew in my heart and in my head that my brother, the brother that I had dreamed of since I can remember, there was absolutely no freaking way that he was going to see me in this relationship. This relationship was gone. And I stood, my boyfriend came back. I told him I was leaving. And you know what? Any other time, he would have probably grabbed me and said, you're not going anywhere. I think there was something around me. There was something that he saw in me that he had never seen before. And I think that because I felt something in me that I had never felt before. I felt a strength. You know, I felt a real, I actually felt like I'd found the first piece of me that I'd been looking for a very, very long time. And that was the moment. And I can remember walking up the street and he was shouting, Donna, Donna, come back. And I can remember walking, you know, that moment, you know, there's certain moments, pivotal moments in your life that you'll never forget. And I remember walking and I did not once look back. I just kept forward all the way. And that was the end of that relationship. I want to share with you, I'm going to share my screen because I want to share a picture. Let me see if I can get this picture. Okay, first of all, let me just share. Can you see my screen at the moment? See all my pictures? Yeah. Okay, it's a bit blurred, but there's a picture of me in the foster adopted home. So I came from a very loving family. The one thing that I think's helped me to be where I am now and to be doing what I'm doing now is because the foundation that I had, regardless of being the only...
Donna, we see the screen. We don't see a picture. We see all the folders here.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
You see a picture now?
No.
Oh, hang on.
We can see a screen. Yeah. If you just click on that, hopefully that should open it.
Can you see a picture there?
We can see the picture, but it's a really small icon, sort of.
Oh. Oh, okay. I'm not too sure how to do this. Hang on. How do I... See, I'm looking at that. Hold on.
Maybe try double clicking on the icon.
Can you see it now? Oh.
No.
It's amazing. We can see a screen. We can definitely see a screen with all the folders on. One of them.
Yeah. Let me get rid of that.
Yeah. But we can't see the picture in itself. Yeah, try again, maybe.
Oh, screen sharing has stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay, let me share it.
Share it again, yeah.
Yeah, let me share it again. Hang on. Okay. Can you see that now?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah.
Sorry, but I don't know. I don't really understand how this works. So that just gives that just gives you an idea of my childhood. So I grew up in a very loving home. There's no denying that. But as you can see, I was the only little girl of colour in the family, which made it very, very difficult for me. But I had love, which was, I think, the foundation that if you can have love between, I think they say between 0 and 7 years old, then it's a huge, huge thing for you. And I did have that. I'm going to try and share now. Let me stop screen share a minute. Let me try and get it up, and then I'm just going to show you a picture of my brother, and then I'll move on. Get rid of that. Okay. Can you see that? So that was very early on. You can see I'm looking a lot younger there. I was at 21 years old. My brother was just 19. Now, my brother, his name's called James, or Jamie, as he was called. He grew up with my birth mum until she committed suicide. So he saw a lot of the domestic violence and a lot of abuse. But he was adopted at 9 years old by a lovely family that really, really did a good job with him and moved to Birmingham. Now, it is actually because of James that I now live here in Birmingham. I'm just going to tell you a little story now, and it's going to finish off like the completion of me sort of around this bit anyway. My brother introduced me to another friend called Tracy. And many years later from when this picture was taken, Tracy went to live in London. Now, I'm now living in Birmingham. So I've cut a very long story short. I'm now living in Birmingham. I'm now about 28 years old, which is about 7 years on from here. Our friend Tracy moves to London. Now, what I haven't told you in this little story is when the social worker told me my father's name, She said, Donna, your father's name is Ronald Mead. So, okay. Tracy goes to London to do her university degree. She comes back. Now, this is where I think my spirituality comes in, because when she came back to Birmingham, she let me know that she was out. Did I want to meet her? And I said yes. And no word of a lie, for some unknown reason, although I do know now, I drove really fast to meet her, which is crazy because why was I driving so fast? I knew I needed to see her. James was in the pub. I said, hi, James, where's Tracy? She's in the toilet. I went to the toilet to find her, which is so mad. Why didn't I just wait with James to fight for her to come out the toilet? We embraced in the toilet and then we came out of the toilet. And within about 2 minutes, she was showing me a picture on her phone. And she said, Donna, look, this is my new boyfriend. His name's called Kenny. Now, I'm really cutting a long story short here because there's a lot more to say in this, and that's why I am going to write a book. Let's just say that she mentioned Kenny Mead. We'll keep it nice and simple. It's kind of not what happened because there was more to it than that. But in a very, very short space of time, I discovered that Tracy was dating my brother from my father's side. And in that night, you remember the dreaming I used to do as a child about wanting to have a big family, like a big family, the same colour as me? Well, I thought all my prayers had been answered finding James, and believe me, they had. And James and I are still extremely close right now. It's why I moved to Birmingham. But in 2006, after that meeting with Tracy, I discovered that I had 7 more brothers and sisters, all the same colour as me. I'm just going to share another picture with you now. I'm just going to take that off because it seems like this is the easiest way to do it. Okay. These are my 3 gorgeous sisters. I think you could admit we could do a dental advert, couldn't we? This is my gorgeous sister, Veronica. This is my eldest sister, Melinda. Sylvia. This is me. And this is my youngest sister. So these 2 are older than me. And this is my younger sister, Melinda. And I've also got 4 brothers as well. My father had passed away just a few years before I found out about him. But I also found out that he had 16 brothers and sisters. So I have got probably one of the biggest families you can imagine, all the same colour as me. So what I'm going to click to now, I'm going to stop share because this definitely seems to be the way to do it. Never let it be said that to dream is a waste of one's time, for dreams are our realities in waiting. In dreams, we plant the seeds of our future. I didn't even realize what I was doing as a child. But lo and behold, what I do believe now is that I was manifesting. And what I say to each and every one of you is don't ever stop dreaming. You know, those daydreams where you imagine what your life could look like, where you imagine that house or that holiday or that perfect husband or that perfect one. Please do not ever stop dreaming. Always dream, because I believe I am testament that those dreams do come true. And you know what's so wonderful as well is it's a positive story. You know, I get on so well. In fact, I was on a Zoom call with those 3 sisters till 11 o'clock last night. You know, we are close. It is just absolutely wonderful. Now, I've talked about trauma, and I've talked a little bit about abuse and finding my family. And all of this, what I call stuff, happened. And I knew that I wanted to share it. And I knew, not share it as in egotistically, me, obviously, but I knew that there were things within my story that could massively help others. If you've been adopted, finding a birth family, even fostering. You know, I grew up in a fostering environment, and I experienced social services and a lot of things there. I experienced abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse. It's all very, very complex. And I always knew that I wanted to sort of share and help others. But how do you do that when there's so many complex things going on? So that's where Searching for Truth comes in. And I think I was saying this to Ritu when she interviewed me. I knew that I was going to do a podcast to talk to people about all of this. So find someone else who can talk to me about adoption so that we can air all of this out together. Because what Searching for Truth is, what we're doing, I encourage you to maybe go and have a listen to some of my podcasts so far. And what we're doing is we are in a safe space going back to these, you know, those emotions that I talked about turning your back on and moving away from. Well, I think you and I, we all know that those emotions do not actually go anywhere. They don't shift anywhere. They stay there and they eat you up inside. And what they actually do, they actually make it feel like they're sucking all that love, you know, that love that we talked about. Now, remember what I said at the beginning, that love is still there. It's always there. It never goes anywhere. If anything, it gets bigger. It gets more. That love just gets more and more and more. But if these negative emotions aren't dealt with, it feels like they're almost draining that love out of you. And that's why Searching for Truth is really important. And what I've created is a platform to enable myself and others to talk about these emotions in a safe space so that we can like untangle them, unlock them, see them for what they are. You know, there's things that have happened in our lives that were not our fault. There are things that people have done in our lives that it was never our fault. But as children especially, our minds and our brains are not developed enough to know that. And back in the 70s and 80s, it very much was, like I said before, move on. And Searching for Truth is a means of going back and almost facing it from with a different mature perspective. Because if you can look at that and think, actually, that wasn't my fault. Or even better, if you can look at it and realize, like I do, it all makes sense. Now, I don't ever want to go back and be in an abusive relationship. But and again, I can feel myself welling up. I am so grateful that I can help women now. And if that had never have happened, then I would not be able to help women now. In fact, if my whole life, the things that happened in it hadn't have, I wouldn't be talking to you now. I wouldn't be in the process of writing my book. I wouldn't be in the process of working on myself to be able to speak to thousands, if not millions of people, to give them the realization and the belief that actually anything that you want out there, anything, it's already there. You've just got to ask for it, dream about it. I wouldn't be able to do that because, what is it, Ritu? If you don't know, you came up with something on our love podcast. I can't remember what it was now. Is it until you know you don't know, until you you know what I'm saying? Yeah, until you
once you start to know, you know how less you know. So the closer you get, you realize how further away you are.
Yeah, and it is so, so true. So what I really would encourage everyone to do is really accept, accept what is and look to move forward. And like Audrey says, in like thinking of positive words and positive whatever, think to move forward, but also accept where you are at now and be willing to go back and sort out those things that perhaps are the things that are still causing a little bit of pain in there. I've had guests crying on my podcast. I've had listeners crying, listening to my podcast, but not in a negative way, in a way that's releasing. It's like I've had guests that have said, "Oh my God, Donna, I didn't even realize that was still there. I didn't even realize that there was still something there that was carrying so much pain." I'm crying on my podcast. I'm still crying now. But you know what? This is good. This is good because we are on a journey and we have got the rest of our lives ahead of us. And there is so much that we can do in that. And when we do start digging deep and looking at those emotions that once were and bringing them out, that love that is always there, it starts to get more and more and more and more. Now, one thing I haven't shared is when I was dreaming, I also dreamed of being a presenter one day, and it was almost like it was such and this is why I'm hoping this is going to inspire you, because you might be feeling this now. I've got a little exercise to do just quickly before we finish. And you can share it with us or not. It's entirely up to you. I, as I've explained, had a zilch confidence, zilch self-esteem. I was as low as you can imagine when I was a little girl. I felt like almost like an alien. I felt like, I actually at some point thought maybe I'm the only person this color on the whole planet. Seriously, I used to go missing whenever my mum and dad used to take me into the city centre. I used to go missing, and I think it's probably because I saw people the same colour as me. So I was just like trying to find my tribe because I would always go missing. So that is how low I was with how I felt. But I still used to dream about being on a stage. I used to dream about being, you remember I put a post on Facebook recently. My inspiration was Floella Benjamin. You know, I was going to be like her one day. I was going to be like on Play School. I was going to be on the radio. I was going to do this. I used to, in fact, I'm saying the wrong words because now I know affirmations. I didn't know that then. So I wasn't going, I am going to. I just used to daydream about those things. That is the power of daydreams. Affirmations, I'm sure we'll cover on another thing. But I was so far removed at the time from those daydreams. And that is why I'm hoping this will inspire you. Even though you might be living in a really small house right now, for example, don't ever stop dreaming about that big house. Don't ever stop thinking that you are too far away from something. Because I am now living my dream. You know, I am on the radio. I am a presenter. I have found my family. I am like Floella Benjamin. I am a children's entertainer, you know, and I am doing a podcast and I'm doing videos and inspiring people. I am doing absolutely everything. And one last thing, when my mum and dad used to take me to the hairdressers, the black hairdressers, and I used to see all those curly permed hair on the walls, and it was like the wet look days, I used to dream that I would have hair like that one day. And now all I'm getting every time Ritu sees me, I love your hair, Donna. I love your hair. And you know what? It's just another reminder that when I was in the hairdressers and they were like chopping all my hair off and I'd walk out there looking like a boy. I never got this hair then. But when I was younger, I used to sit in that hairdresser's chair and I used to look at those pictures and I was dreaming of myself having that hair one day. This stuff works. Yes. It makes me realize when I talk like this that I have got a lot more to say, but there's one thing I just want to share and I want to end on this, and it's only going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to find it on here. Let's have a look. I'll start with that one. Hopefully. So I've talked a little bit about dreaming. We've talked a lot about dreaming. I think actually it's the, turn that on. It's kind of the essence of it all, really. So what I'd like you all to do is a bit of dreaming yourself. Now you might want to just grab a pen and paper, because I'm just going to share something. There's a few things I want you to, I'm not just going to say like, you know, what are you dreaming about? I'm going to give you some actual tools to help you. Let me see if I can do this. So I just want you to, can you see that? Thumbs up? Yeah. So I want you to look ahead to the upcoming year. It's a good place to go. And you don't have to answer all of these. You might want to just look through them and choose one. But what I want you doing is I want you really having a think about what you want. What do you want to devote more time to? What are you looking forward to? Have you got a bad habit that you want to get rid of? What do you really want to achieve next year or this year? And as well as just writing down the answer, dreaming is about bringing it to life in your mind. Now, I've talked about how my dreams have without doubt come true. I realise now that I am, or I know now that I am off the scale kinesthetic. So I feel for England, and I've always felt more so than visual, more so than auditory. So what I was, when I was growing up, was I was feeling the energies. I was feeling my birth mum, I think. And when I was dreaming of my family, I was feeling into that. So that's what worked for me. Some people are more visual. So what I want you to do is, when you've written down your answer to what you want to devote more time to, or, you know, what habit you want to get rid of, I want you to either feel or visualize what that looks like. What does that feel like? You know, if you're getting rid of a habit, what does that look like? How much more healthy is life? What does that feel like? If you're thinking of a new job or a new house or a holiday, if it's a holiday, you know, maybe you could almost see or feel your feet in the sand. You know, if it's a house or something that you're dreaming of, maybe you can actually visualize what the front door looks like. Is it red? Is it green? This is what dreaming is. We may not have controls over our dreams at night, but we have got 100% control over our dreams in the day. And I know if the people that were on last week's self-love session with journaling, that is a really good way to bring to life what your dreams are. Get it out onto paper. Feel it. I have got, before we finish, I don't know how long I've got, Audrey, but I have got just a love and kindness meditation just to do with everyone. It'll only take a few minutes and then you can finish. Is that okay, Audrey? Yeah? Okay. What we could do maybe with Audrey, we could maybe as a group, we could share some of the things. We'll see how we go with time, and Audrey, I'll leave that to you. But really the act of dreaming, daydreaming is for you. It's for you. And I would encourage you to continue doing that. Okay. So I'm going to end with a self-love meditation, because what keeps me going now is the love that I feel. I feel love for myself now. When I wake up in the morning, it's not always every morning I'm bouncing out of bed full of love, but the majority of time I can see the positive side. And all I want more than anything, if I can carry the gifts to help you lot, everyone else, to feel the same, then I will. So I'm going to end with this. So I want you to really just make yourself comfortable wherever you are, whether you're in a chair or lying down. Just make sure that you're nice and comfortable and your back is straight and at ease. Relax your body, roll your shoulders if you need to. Just okay, so if everybody can go on to mute, that would be good. Thank you. Thank you. Roll your head sometimes, you know. And if you are sat on the floor, just make sure that your legs aren't crossed and your feet are nice and firmly on the ground. And let's just take some deep breaths in and out together. In through the nose. Notice the air really filling yourself up. Feel your chest rise. Try not to tense. Just relax. And then a nice full exhalation. And just have some real nice deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you'd like to. Just close your eyes and take another deep breath in. This time, try and get the breath to go a little bit deeper so you can really feel your chest and your belly rise. And then as you exhale, just allow your body to sink back down and relax. And almost imagine all of that tension from you just disappearing into nothing. You may want to just take another deep breath. And let it go. Sometimes I think we don't do this enough, you know, just take time out to just take those deep breaths. And then we're just going to let our breathing settle to its normal pattern. And I want you to allow my words to be your words. And all you need to do is relax and listen to my words. Close your eyes now and make my words your own. So when listening to my words, you might see them as pictures or you might feel them inside. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if you believe what I say for yourself. Just imagine that the words are true for you. Just listen to the words and relax. And if any thoughts outside of my words arise, just notice them, acknowledge them, and then let them go without judgment. Just bring yourself back to my words. I am the I deep down inside myself. My thoughts are not who I am. When I take time and be silent, I can witness my thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. As my thoughts calm down, I am gets bigger. Not in an egotistical way, but in a knowing way. As I get closer to the I am, I get closer to who I really am. I get closer to myself, my true self. Say these words in your head to yourself as I speak them. As I get closer to my true self, I realize I am enough. I have always been enough. As I embrace my true feelings and my emotions, I realize I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I realize I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I want you to place your right or left hand on your chest, on your heart area. And I want you to take just a few moments to feel your heart beat. And now imagine breathing in and out of your heart as if it were your lungs. Feel your chest moving as you slowly breathe in and out. Breathing into your heart self-love, into your heart self-love and kindness. And then say to yourself, you can say this out loud if you want to, but if not, just say it in your head with your hand on your heart. I accept myself. I value myself. I love who I am. And whilst we feel this love in our hearts for ourselves, we're now going to breathe into your heart gratitude for everything in your life. Breathe in all the appreciation, the compassion, and the love for everything in your life. And just for a moment, with your heart, with your hand on your heart, just really think or feel into everything that you're grateful for, compassionate for, and appreciative for in your life. And now just bring both palms together and set a new intention. Just set a new intention. What could that be? Maybe think about what you wrote down earlier. What could that new intention be? Just take a few moments. So in just a few minutes, you've taken time to observe who you really are. You've tapped into the love that is deep within you, and you've set an intention. Just take a few moments to witness how you feel. And when you're ready, open your eyes and smile. So I'm going to hand over to Audrey now.
Thank you very much, Donna. That was just so touching, so insightful. Thank you for sharing your rawness. And yes, I'm sure I know it touched quite a lot of people here, many of them on similar journeys. I love to hear people's journeys. And as you say, the suffering is where you get your strength from. It's where you find your lessons. And just so beautiful that when you found your family, and like you say, you were dreaming of it, It's so absolutely wonderful. And yeah, having that dream, never stop dreaming, like you rightly said, never stop dreaming. Always have that dream, where you're going, what you want. The interesting thing was, and I love the meditation, I had to laugh because that's exactly what I was going to do, the meditation, the intention setting, the empowering, and the love. So does anybody want to share what they thought of Donna's? Thank you so much, Donna. How it's helped you in any way? I can't see it. I'm just going to change my gallery view.
There's quite a lot of comments I've seen, so I'll have a read through those. Just quickly, Audrey, you mentioned about other people relating. I'm looking for guests, either for Searching for Truth or for my radio show. So, I'm open to people to come, because like I've hopefully got across here, it's so powerful and healing, sharing your own story. it's a big reason as to how I'm here. It's really helped me doing videos and sharing and stuff. It's a healer. So if anybody wants to talk to me about potentially sharing their story with me in a safe space, then do get in touch.
I think I might consider that.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the releasing and letting go, it's so important. Like you said, it's not about, like we've been, taught, just bury it, shut up, get on with it. You can't do that. You can't do that. You will be ill if you're not already ill in some form or other. But just being aware that you can release and you can let go, and it is okay. And I've been doing that like for over 20 odd years now, and still I've got stuff from way back, from my marriage and everything, and I think, I've done it now, I've got rid, and then something else comes up and you think, okay, no, I haven't, but like you said, it's the strength, it makes you who you are now, one step nearer to being your true self. One step nearer.
What I didn't say in there is like I've got a gorgeous husband now and a child, and not funnily enough, not long after that relationship, I met my now husband. So we've actually been together. You can work my age out now. We've actually been together for 27 years.
Wow.
And yeah, we finally managed. Yeah, so it was not easy. I had a lot of baggage. I was lucky, very lucky, or maybe he was lucky, who knows. We were both lucky that he was the sort of guy that he took my baggage on, and we worked through it, and it wasn't easy for the first 8 years, but I couldn't imagine being with anyone else. So there's hope. Definitely.
Absolutely. And it is, and it's all about letting go of your baggage and working together. And if I can come back to what I was saying before about us vibrating and resonating, when we attract whatever the person who on the same level is where we are vibrating, and it sounds like beautiful, because it sounds like you both are raising together, growing together. Whereas a lot of people, initially you meet, and then you might raise your awareness, you might raise your vibrations. They'll be down here, they want to bring you back down. And there is that tendency to like come back down because you feel you have to. But if you keep up there, get them to come up to you. And if they don't, then, time for you to go on your journey in a different way. It's always a learning journey, always a learning curve. And again, I'm going back to like be the flow. So me personally, I always think that I am fortunate because I just do go with the flow. So when it was time for me to leave my relationship, I just went. I knew I had to do it, and I went. And that's what I've always done. If I know I have to do something, I do it. And I'm just fortunate enough not to think, I can't go because I've got this, I've got that, had a son, had a mortgage, and I just left a full-time job. You had to leave a full-time job. This was after I left my husband. And because I did that, I am now here doing what I'm doing. If I was thinking, I can't do it because how am I going to pay for this? I went from a paid job to like, no idea, self-employed, no idea when, what money was coming in. And I must tell you this, when I handed in my notice, my heart was going like this, and I'm just like, what the hell's happening there? And of course now I know it's my soul. I was doing my soul, what my soul wanted me to do. And when you step into that space, that spiritual space of allowing and following your soul and trusting, it's your whole world changes. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, you still have your baggage to get rid of and things like that, but we are all here to help everyone else through our journey, through what we've experienced, and it's just such an honor to be able to do that.
And it's so beautiful, Audrey, that you know how you shared Richard Hawkins, the funnel, about vibrations, and Donna just how she's narrated her story, starting from the bottom of the bottom and then going up, and then getting to acceptance where it starts to neutralize and love stepping in. And you know, out of the whole story, the one thing that screams out to me is that when Donna found out about her birth mother and she came back home to the abusive partner, something had already shifted within, and she'd found that strength not from anywhere on the outside but from within. And that is the power of acceptance. That is the power of, you know, starting to love yourself and say, you know what, it's okay, everybody else is great and important, but hey ho, I am important as well. And my story is about me. And everybody's stories can be about themselves, and that's why the joy pours in after that, because when you honor yourself, the calling. And Donna, you've made me cry today. I don't normally cry anymore. I thought I've gone past the thing, you know, but because the content, whatever you've shared, is so relatable at so many different levels, and you talk about being alienated with an adopted family. You could be well alienated with your own blood family, which is my experience, and you know, the expertise of what I talk about. But you could very much feel lonely while you're still surrounded by so-called blood family. And you know, you might discover yourself and be able to only accept yourself. And I'm not saying, please don't quote me here, that you have to, but it might be that that's the price you pay to discover yourself and honor yourself, and then be on the journey that you're meant to be. And you can tell whether that's it, because the joy you feel, the happiness that you get, and the rewarding feeling that you get out of doing what you do. And I'm sure Audrey feels like that. Donna, you feel like that. And I can speak for myself. I definitely feel like this right now, where I feel as if this is what I was born to do. And it's and I totally vouch for what you've said, that unless I realized that it was me letting myself down, and it was me who was not loving myself, there was no love on the outside. And once I just realized that, like yourself, that is actually when things started to change for good. And thanks to God, you know, it happens in its own time, it happens in its own way. But while we connect each other and inspire each other, Donna, you've been fantastic today. You know what? It's so beautiful, and thank you for sharing, you know, everything so authentically and all the vulnerabilities that you've been through. And it takes a lot of courage, and I know that. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for this. Can I just say something, Ritu? Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon. I completely slipped my mind because I had so much going on. I've done half a day's work already, but hey ho. What I'm trying to say is I'm so sorry I've missed Donna's thing now. Ritu. We'll have the recording later. You haven't missed it. You can watch it later. You're safe. Oh, that's what I wanted to hear. And yeah, no, it's really good, because I've got a similar story, no doubt, that will touch hearts and inspire you all, because I'd like to, you know, hear Donna's and then maybe, you know, relate mine one day, if you allow me to. Yeah.
I'd be happy, you know, watch this, and certainly if there's anything that you feel that you would like to talk to me about, then, you know, I'm in the group, so feel free to message me. That's absolutely fine. You know, if there's anything that you feel after watching.
Exactly, because I think we women have to recognize, this is what it's taught me, this huge lesson, that we women are the ones who are going to fortify each other and stand up united, and divided we fall. And I've been isolated completely, and then you become so vulnerable. You're so easy target, aren't you? When, oh my God, I was like I was locked up in a solitary confinement. And Lata, that's why this community, because we don't want any of us to feel we're on our own, because we're not really on our own. So that's why we've created this community of women, where you can feel safe, you can come in, you can share experiences, we can all relate to each other at so many levels. I mean, Donna's story is just
bumped me off completely. And there's so many different levels I can connect with her from. So that's the reason we do what we do, Lata. So you're very welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you, Lata. It's lovely that you've shared our, you've come into the WhatsApp group as well. So Ritu has got a WhatsApp group. If anybody wants to join, Ritu will add you to it. It's got lots of inspiring women on there. And if you want to share, anything that you're doing, feel free. Okay, so Jay, I was going to actually ask Jay if she wanted to share about next week. But before I do that, Emma's saying, wow, Donna, such a truly touching story. Thank you for sharing. I would love to read your book. I will also look for your podcast. And I'm glad that you found your purpose to inspire others. Sorry. Okay. And everybody's saying thank you. Is that? Okay. Yeah, and Emma's saying she feels she's on the first step of her journey to self-love through healing, as she's got so much to work through. Loved your little exercise on dreaming and then setting an intention. She thanks you for that.
Emma, if you want to talk further to me about anything, then you please do.
Yeah. So, and Ritu's added the number for the group to add onto the group. If you want to be added onto the group, should I say? Yeah. So, right. Thank you very much. Ritu, do you want to say anything else? Do you want to add anything?
I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. I know Donna stirred a lot of emotions within us. We've got to go back and organize them according to our own productive goals and how we want to, what energy, where do we want to channelize our own personal energies into. Because when we come across somebody's story like Donna's, somebody's empowering story where they have fought through life, at one level and then on the next and then on the next, and have come out, emerged out as a loving person still, because life can wreck you and can, distort you and your vision. That's what trauma does. And you've seen so many people, you must have. And yes, Donna was one of those people who was distorted initially by trauma. I was one, I know Audrey was one, we all were at one point. But then it is all about finding that love for yourself and pouring, as Donna very visually said, pouring it back and realizing that the love is there. We just need to start believing into it and absorbing love and light from that to be able to become who we are supposed to become. And we're all supposed to become happy beings. We're all supposed to become honored, loved beings. That is the truth of life. Unfortunately, we're not told that many a times when we're little and when our value system is being built up. Unfortunately, we have to go through these kicks and pushes and shoves before we actually start to realize that, you know what, this is not how it's supposed to be. If I need to make a few changes, I must stand up for myself. And therefore, such a big shout about self-love. And you'll always see me talk about self-love because I totally and truly believe that is where your transformation for good starts. That is actually when you start to become great, and start to honor yourself. So self-love, self-love, self-love. Do whatever you need to do to become full. And Audrey very beautifully said last time that, the cup story where we say you can't pour from an empty cup. She says, don't pour from the cup, let the cup overflow and pour it from the saucer underneath the cup. And I quite like that visual effect. That's brilliant. Thank you, Audrey, for that. I've actually been, thinking about that quite a lot over the week. So we have another one session to go next week, Tuesday, same time, 11 a.m. with Jay Rugani, who is a healer and is a sound healing specialist as well. I just want to take this opportunity also to thank National Lottery, who are our funders for this wonderful work that we do, and for them to believe that we can create a change together. Thank you so much, Audrey. Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you, both of you. Thank you, everybody, for being here today.
Yes, my pleasure. If you are coming next week, I want to say make sure you've got a space to lie down, because Jay will be playing the music and it's working on, I'm not sure, I think she just might be working on one or two chakras. So they're your energy centers in your body, if you don't know. Can I just finish off, because it's just this little meditation, and it's actually what Donna's done in a different way. Will that be all right? You know, I like to do my meditations. Okay, so sit up straight, make sure you're comfortable and your feet are on the floor, and close your eyes. Okay. And the intention that you've set, focus on it again, like Donna was saying earlier. Go into your heart, focus on your intention, and then put both your hands out, like cup your hands. Put your intention in your hands. And then blow it away. So when you set your intention, the magic is blowing it away and detaching from it and letting it go. So you can put your hands down now. Keep your eyes closed. Just taking in deep breaths. And if you can put your left hand in the middle of your chest. Just breathe into the count of 4, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Keep breathing. And just breathe in into your hand. Get that breath from your heart into your hand. And as you breathe out through your mouth. And just visualize the energy emanating from your heart. The sun in your heart, giving light to your body. Solar flares emanating in every direction. And one flare comes out of your heart into your shoulder, your left shoulder, down your arms, into your hand and back into your heart. And it's cleaning and it's activating your heart. Just keep taking the deep breaths. And repeat. I am the creator of my own story. I am the creator of my own story. I am the creator of my own story. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am kind enough. I am kind enough. I am kind enough. I am abundant enough. I am abundant enough. I am abundant enough. I am connected enough. I am connected enough. I am connected enough. I am compassionate enough. I am compassionate enough. I am compassionate enough. And just feel, think, or see you, a small version of you in your heart. It is growing the size of your chest. It's growing the full size of you. And is growing as big as your house. And it's growing as big as this sky. And as big as the universe. And feel that strength coming up from Mother Earth, coming up your legs into your abdomen, your hips, your abdomen, your chest, your arms, your hands, into your neck and your head, filling the universe. I am love. I am love. I am love. I am. And now feel yourself coming back to the size of the sky, back to the size of your house, back into you. And just taking a deep breath and blow it out. And another deep breath and blow it out slowly. And when you're ready, open your eyes, wriggle your hands, wriggle your legs, have a good stretch. Thank you very much, everybody. Let that stay with you for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week. Thank you so much, Donna and Ritu, and everyone who's come here. Bless you all. Love yourself and be the I am, the love who you are. Thank you.